report.
It should be report.
It should be report.
There is an error here that shareholder notice.
I've told the chairman, 2025.
2025.
This number.
In fact, nobody saw it until,
Sometimes
I
this
just
is what
wonder how.
printers devil. No matter how many times you do, somebody will see it.
Nonawa has come. He said Nonawa has come.
You have plain paper also.
Eh?
If you writing,
There should be. Mr. Sun, they didn't put plain papers for us. Like they used to do. It's not there.
1 minute.
It's only you they do.
Put phone on silent.
Most times, I don't have our phone. I don't have my phone.
but at least you can have one.
Yes.
I think you can help me articulate the questions more. so that, but I understand it's not all the questions. After they do the question, we package them.
Yeah, you just say noted and they are playing the national.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians own and proud to serve our sovereign motherland.
That's it.
Only one stanza.
One is it.
Our respected chiefs, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to welcome you to the 63rd Annual General Meeting of our company, holding virtually this morning. The virtual mode of Annual General Meeting is in line with Section 240, subsection 2 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, as amended by the Business Facilitation Miscellaneous Provisions Act 2022 and the Memorandum and Article of Association of the company. Distinguished shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, I'm aware that we have a quorum. I've just asked and we have a quorum. So the meeting is on. Apart from the preliminaries, there are 10 items of business on the agenda before you. I will move the motions while members present will have an opportunity to second each motion put to the meeting before a vote is taken on the items of the agenda. I will give an opportunity for questions on the financial statements to be laid before you. Answers will also be provided to those questions before we proceed to the next item of the agenda. The directors will be available after the meeting to discuss any further points with any of the members that need such discussion. Please. Kindly indicate your interest to ask questions or contribute, which I will recognize you to speak. Please ensure your environment is clear of noise. For those who are virtually out, your environment is clear of noise so that everybody present should be able to hear. I will therefore request that those seconding motions before the meeting or asking questions should speak clearly through their devices and commence by stating their names so that we can identify them. The register of directors shareholding is available for inspection during and after the meeting in compliance with the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. So it's here now for inspection for anybody who is willing to. I will now introduce you to members of the board of directors of your company here present. To my immediate right is Mr. Tayo A. Adeni, the group managing director. Yes. Sitting next to Mr. Adeni is Mr. Joseph Aleknesodi, the finance director. Next to Mr. Aleknesodi is Dr. Mrs. Abiola Davis, a non-executive director. Sitting next to Mr. Abiola Davis is Mr. Abdul Bello, an independent non-executive director. And to my extreme right is Mr. Achike C. Umuna, a non-executive director. To my extreme left is Mr. Gasson Silva. Sitting to Mr. Silva is Mr. Tahiru Gambo. That's the commercial director. And after him is Mr. Ademola Bolarinde, a non-executive director. Sitting next to Mr. Ademola is Ola Ogunfeyetimi, the supply chain director. And next to him is Mr. Ode, the technical director. To my immediate left is Mr. Lekon Sani, the company secretary. As for myself, I am Zakari Muhammad Sadek, the chairman. I would like to recognize the representatives of the Nigerian Exchange Commission, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Corporate Affairs Commission, and external auditors, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and the company's registrars, Meristem Registrars and Probate Services Limited. I would also like to recognize members of the Statutory Audit Committee led by the committee's chairman, Comrade S.B. Aderele. Other members of the Audit Committee are Mr. Vadebo Olatukumbo, Reverend I. Elisade, Mr. Abdul Bello, who is with us here, and Mr. Ademola Bolarinde. But I would also like to recognize our first chairman here, starting with Chief Bolarinde, Dr. Makanjola, and Professor Ogong. Yes. I will now call on the secretary to read the minutes of the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, the notice of this virtual annual general meeting you will find from page 5 of the annual report previously circulated to all shareholders. And I read from page 5. Notice is hereby given that the 63rd annual general meeting of members of Vitafoam Nigeria PLC will be held virtually on Thursday, that's today, 6th March 2025 at 10 o'clock in the forenoon to transact the following business agenda. 1. Ordinary business. 1. To lay before members the report of the directors, the audited financial statement for the year ended 30th September 2024, together with the report of the auditor and the audit committee thereon. 2. To declare a dividend. 3. To elect Mr. Gerson P. Silva as a director. 4. To re-elect Mr. Zachary M. Sada as a director. 5. To confirm the appointment of Dr. Mrs. Abiola O. Davis as a director. 6, to authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the external auditor. 7, to disclose the remuneration of managers of the company in compliance with the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. 8, to elect members of the audit committee. Special business. 9, to approve directors' fees. And the last item, number 10, to authorize the renewal of recurrent transactions which are of trading nature or those necessary for the day-to-day operations of the company from related companies in accordance with the rules of the Nigerian Exchange Limited, governing transactions with related parties or interested persons. Proxy. A member of the company entitled to attend and vote at this meeting is entitled to appoint a proxy to attend and vote instead of him. A proxy need not be a member of the company. A detachable proxy form is enclosed with the annual report and also available on the company's website www.vitafoam.com.ng. If the proxy form is to be valid for the purpose of this meeting, the form must have been completed and deposited at the office of the registrars, 213 about Macaulay Way, Adekunle Yaba, and PO Box 51585, Faloma, Ikoyi, Lagos State, or email to info@meritemregistrars.com not later than 48 hours before the time of this meeting. The cost and expenses of all stamp duties will be borne, have actually been borne by the company. Dated 19 December 2024, by order of the board, signed company secretary. The notes are on the other pages, so you may, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before dealing with the formal business of the day, I would like to comment briefly on the affairs of the company during the last financial year as recorded in the report, an account which has been distributed. This entails my report, which is there in the accounts on page 13, 14, and 15. If members agree, we can take it as having been read. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will now call on the representative of the auditors to read the auditor's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders of the board of directors. Distinguished shareholders of the board of directors. My name is Dividend, representing PricewaterhouseCoopers, the local company auditors. Our report on the audited financial year will be 51 to 54 of the annual reports received. With your permission, I'll read the first and last paragraph. Report on the audited and separate financial statements of Vitafoam Nigeria PLC are 51. In our opinion, the consolidated and separate financial statements give a true and fair view of the consolidated and separate financial position of Vitafoam Nigeria PLC, the company, and its subsidiary together the group as at 30th September 2024, and of their consolidated and separate financial performance and their consolidated and separate cash flow for the year ended in accordance with the International Financial Reporting Standard as issued by the International Accounting Standard Board, IFRS Accounting Standard, and the requirement of the Companies and Allied Matters Act and the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria amended Act 2022. What have we audited? Vitafoam Nigeria PLC consolidated and separate financial statement comprises of 1. The consolidated and separate statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income for the year ended 30th September 2024. The consolidated and separate statement of financial performance on 30th September 2024. The consolidated and separate statement of changes in equity for the year ended. The consolidated and separate statement of cash flow for the year ended. Material accounting policies and notes to the consolidated and separate financial statement. Based on our opinion, we conducted our audit in accordance with the standard of auditing. Our responsibility to honor those standards as that described in the auditor's responsibility for the audit of the consolidated and separate financial statement section of this report. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. I go to the last paragraph of page 54. report on other legal and regulatory requirements. The Companies and Allied Matters Act require that carrying out audits, we consider and report back to the shareholders on the following matter. We therefore confirm that 1, we have obtained all the information and explanation which to the best of our knowledge and belief before the purpose of our audits. The company has kept proper books of accounts so far as appeared by the revision of those books and return adequate for our audit that we received from the location notes set by us. The company's statement of financial position and statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income are in agreement with the books of account and return. In accordance with the requirement of the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, we performed a limited assurance agreement and reported management assessment of Vitafoam PLC internal control over financial reporting as of 30th September 2024. The work performed was done in accordance with FROC guidance on assurance agreement report on internal control over financial reporting issued by the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria. We have issued an unqualified opinion in our report dated to 3rd December 2024. That report is on page 51 to 50, page 49 to 51. This report is signed by an officer on behalf of private house dated to 3rd December 2024. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will now call on the representative of the Audit Committee to present the Audit Committee's report on behalf of the Audit Committee.
Good morning, distinguished shareholders, members of the board, and the past chairman of the company. Audit Committee report can be found on page 41 of the annual report. I trust you. Report of the Audit Committee for the year ended 30th September 2024. In compliance with section 404 subsection 7 of the Companies and Allied Matters 2020, we, the members of the Audit Committee, review the financial statement of the company for the year ended 30th September 2024 and report as follows. Review the scope and planning of the audit requirement and found them adequate. Review the financial statement for the year ended 30th September 2024 and are satisfied with the explanation obtained. We reviewed the external auditors management letter for the year ended 30th September 2024 and satisfied with management responses to the issues raised, and we are certain that the accounting and reporting policies for the year ended are in accordance with legal requirements and agreed ethical practices. The external auditors confirmed having received full completion from the company management and that the scope of their work was not restricted in any way. Dated this day, 18 December 2024. Other members of the Audit Committee, Reverend I.O. Elishade, who is being with us, Alhaji Gbadebo Olatokunbo. Also, we have the representative director, Mr. Abdul A. Bello, and Mr. Ademola Bola Denibu. I myself on this level of Abatunde. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. S.B. Aderele. We have come to item 1 on the agenda. As copies of the report and accounts for the year ended 30th September 2024 have been dispatched to you, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to formally lay before the meeting the report of the directors, the statement of financial position as at 30th September 2024, together with the statement of comprehensive income for the year ended on that date, and the report of the auditors thereon. This is it. Let's I shall be pleased to answer any questions which you may have on the report and accounts before we proceed to the next business. It would assist if you would refer to the page of the report and accounts to which your question relates and restrict questions to one or two to give opportunity to other shareholders to have a say. So, ready to recommend any question? Yes, please. Yes.
The lady?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Board of Directors, regulatory authorities present, and distinguished shareholders, good morning. My name is Mrs. Bakari, shareholder. Mr. Chairman, I'm pleased to start my comment by acknowledging and congratulating the board, management, and staff of Vitafoam Nigeria PLC on our 63 years of operation. The outstanding performance of Vitafoam Nigeria PLC under the leadership of the Nigerian CEOs and his team is highly commendable. On the same vein, I would like to appreciate the past Nigeria CEOs and chairmen for building a very strong foundation. I say thank you very much, our past CEOs and chairmen. Having said that, I will go straight to page 12 of the annual report. We have the pictures of our directors here. I observed that we are having only one female director out of 11 board members. Sir, to strengthen our corporate governance and promote gender diversity, our company needs additional female director. I hope the board will do the needful before the next annual general meeting. Page 14. I would like to extend my warmest congratulations to you, Mr. Chairman, being your first, Mr. Chairman, your appointment as the chairman of our company. This is your first meeting as the chairman. I say congratulations, Mr. Chairman. Page 21, 55, and 95. I want to commend the financial results, which shows a robust revenue growth of 56% to 82.64 billion. However, the 78% decline in profit is worrisome, Mr. Chairman. I think there is need for immediate necessity for cost control and operational efficiency. In addition, Mr. Chairman, I observed that there was a drop in profit for the year by 78%. Note that 89% that was stated on page 21 is not correct, Mr. Chairman. I want the CEO and CFO to look at that. From 4.37 billion to 952 million. Though the loss was due to foreign exchange losses, which increased to 12.72 billion by 249%. And I want you to explain how you hope to address this. Furthermore, Mr. Chairman, I think there is need for board and management to look into our gearing ratio. Our gearing ratio moved from 9% to 27%. I'm really concerned about our gearing ratio. Page 14.
That's wrong.
On page 14 of our annual report and accounts, under chairman's statement, it was stated here that Mr. Joseph Alegbesoge will be retiring from the board in April 2024. I'm somehow confused here because Mr. Joseph Alegbesoge is still on the board of Vitafoam Nigeria PLC. And we are in 2025. I think that is the typo error. Page 55 and 96. Our finance cost surged by 231%, with interest expenses increasing to 6.749 billion. This shows an indication of limited capacity to manage our debt obligation effectively. I want the board to look at that also. On page 94, on revenue disaggregation, I observed that though it has moved up, that is our revenue from outside Nigeria, from 1.7 billion to 3.4 billion. But I think there is still room for improvement for our Ghana operation. Page 102.
Ghana.
And
Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone.
I'm sorry. Our foreign business. Page 102. Trade and other receivables. From 4.1 billion, from 2 billion to 4.1 billion. I think there is need for aggressive debt collection in order to improve our liquidity. In order to give my colleague opportunity, I will just go to page 87. Let me read some questions. Page 87, our total exposure to credit loss for the group amounted to 11.7 billion, though there was improvement on it compared to the previous year of 24.2 billion. But management needs to put more effort to recover the outstanding debts. Page 96, that is on bank charges. I would like to inquire about the dramatic increase in our bank charges, which is more than double from 55.9 million to 122.3 million. Is there any process in place for management to scrutinize and negotiate these charges with our banks? Lastly, on the final note, I would like to talk on our final penalties. This move from NIM, we are not having anyone penalties in 2023, but this year we are having 15 million fine. I think management should try as much as possible to avoid this going forward. Once again, thank you very much for the opportunity given to me, and God bless you all.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished directors of Vitafoam, our past chairman and directors, distinguished shareholders present and online. I am Adebayo Adeleke, a shareholder. Mr. Chairman, let me also start by commending the board and the management for weathering the storm of the year 2023/2024. It was not an easy year, especially for the manufacturing sector. It was serious economic turbulence, and that we were able to navigate it without crash landing. I think we deserve a high level of commendation. So I want to thank the board and the management for keeping this business afloat in that very turbulent year. Mr. Chairman, I also want to thank our past director who has exited, Professor Rosemary. It is always good to pay tribute to those who have gone ahead of you, because it was part and parcel of their efforts, the labor of their efforts, and the fruits, therefore, that we are harvesting today. And we are happy to have past chairmen joining us. It shows that we are building a family, and that family, the goodwill, will always translate to something for us. Mr. Chairman, looking at the accounts from pages 17 to 19, I observed the growth from our subsidiaries, and I don't want to go more into it because Mrs. Bakari just mentioned it. But one thing that I'm certain of is that even though we are a Nigerian company, we are actually becoming a conglomerate, and it will be very, very good if we can look closely at the governance structure of those subsidiaries. The governance structure of those subsidiaries. I'm sure that you will have something similar to a board for each of those companies. But it will be good to disclose who are those directors that are superintending over those subsidiaries. We need to know. Mr. Chairman, I also want to talk about the statement of comprehensive income on page 55, which I think is actually the thing that we should be addressing at this floor. But before going there, let me stop over on page 30. On page 30, where you have the committees of the board. Mr. Chairman, with very due respect, I want to advise the board that there is a need to consolidate or combine two committees that are stated right there on page 30. You can match the establishment, the governance, the remuneration, the nomination into one single governance committee. And if you look at it closely, I think this advice should be really considered. You got a committee that didn't do anything throughout the year anyway, and you got the other committee that sat only once. So splitting them without violating any law is not of any importance if you can match all of them together, enrich that committee and make it much more robust and much more relevant in terms of governance. So page 55, the statement of comprehensive income. Mr. Chairman, on this page, we have the summary of all the activities that transpired within the accounting year. And if you look at it from the very top, we did very well. Cost of sales, we were able to manage it. And so the top line was very, very good. Reporting, let me just stick to the group, reporting a 30.3 billion naira gross profit. But when you come to the middle line, we have some challenges. And I will also tell you that I'm happy because some of those challenges are not going to continue with us in 2025. I'm extremely very happy. Now, there are two key issues here. Number one is the foreign exchange loss, which took away 12.7 billion naira. I say I'm happy because we are not going to have that repeated in 2024-2025. Then we have the finance cost, which took away 7.1 billion naira. I'm also happy because when I look at the statement of cash flow, I will see that within the year, we paid off a huge sum from our borrowing. We paid 21.28 billion naira. And that shows that even if we are going to have finance costs in the current year, it is not going to be as humongous as what we have already. So we are already beating the bullets. And I'm sure that the structure of our reporting, the profitability of our business will be enhanced in the current year. Mr. Chairman, I also want to thank the board for resolving to give dividend out in spite of this result. Because it's very obvious that from our earning per share, we are unable to pay 105 kobo. But because we have labored in the past, and that is why we sing about the labor of our heroes past, we have things in reserve that we can fall back on in such very difficult times. So I just want to thank you for considering the interest of the shareholders who are also living in these very hard times, such that the reserve becomes something that will gladden their heart while we look forward to a better 2024-2025 operating year. So once again, I just want to commend yourself, the managing director. I want to commend the company secretary too, because this guy has passion for Vitafoam, and there is just no doubt about it. So thank you very much. God bless you. Have a wonderful meeting.
chairman, the managing director, board members, the colleagues that are here, good morning. My name is Matthew Akindade, immediate past president of the Shareholders Solidarity Association and the patron of the organization now. I'm always happy to attend Vitafoam AGM because it's like a family assembly. And I'm particularly happy to always see our past director and chairman. They are always there to give the support, to continue to monitor the legacy that we have left. And I pray that this company will continue to go from strength to strength. I'm not going to repeat what other people have said. I'm just going to place some emphasis on some few things. Somebody has mentioned about gender balance. Somebody has mentioned gender balance, that we have 1 out of 11. I think Code of Corporate Governance prescribe 33% to be female. I think we need to look at this closely so that we comply with the Code of Corporate Governance. Vitafoam and some other companies that are very important to me because I live on my investment. I always review their quarterly results. And monitoring the quarterly result of Vitafoam, I said, look, this year, I don't think any dividend will come from Vitafoam. But when I saw the published results, with profits going down significantly, and surprisingly, I saw that you recommended a dividend of £1.05. I want to say big thank you for being investor friendly. I think you have done very well, and we should keep it up. Going through the chairman's statement, I read about strategies you have put in place to ensure that the kind of performance we have last year, which is not your fault. Most of the issues are macroeconomic issues. There was nothing much you could do about it. And for you to be able to navigate it and report the profits you reported is commendable. And when I read that chairman's statement, said that we have put strategies in place to ensure that 2025 will reverse the situation. I have no doubt about that we are going to do so. More so that, like Mr. Debayo mentioned, the issue of huge foreign exchange loss will not arise. And I could see a number of things you are doing your subsidiaries as well. Most of them recorded significant increases. And the one that really make me happy is that of Z alone. There is a significant performance with 93% increase in profit, with turnover increasing 93%, and profit after that increasing by 176%. That's very significant. And I think whatever we have done to bring that subsidiary back to profitability, let us sustain it and probably improve on it. Again, I want to commend the outgoing finance director for doing very good job since he came in as finance director. When I read the auditor's report on page 52, they mentioned that no key audit matters, which means the company is compliant. Thank you for a job well done, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Now, if you look at note 9, under admin expenses, if you look at total increase in admin expenses, it's just 40%, which is just slightly above inflationary rate. So I want to commend you for being able to control the cost. But there are specific items I want to highlight. Electricity. We spent 958 million as against 592 million from the previous year. I want to admonish us to look at alternative source of energy. A lot of companies are doing that because I won't be surprised if the rate this year of the electricity supply is higher. It will be higher than the year that we are paying. It is for us to look at what can we do probably to generate electricity for ourselves. Again, another area that management can do something about is transport. Transport increased by 151% from 162 million to 411 million. People and companies are also looking at alternative source of fueling our trucks. The people are looking at CNG. It's so cost effective, and I think it's a direction that a company like ours that engage in distributing and taking things to our distributors and customers should look at. Somebody has mentioned inventory and trade receivable on page 56. Trade receivable billing is more than double from 2.0 billion to 4 billion. You have to watch this so that we don't have potential impairment on our hand. I look at our balance sheet and I think it is well managed. I look at the current ratio, which was 1.36 last year, is now 1.6, which means we are more comfortable in paying our creditors if they are asking for their money to pay. It's part of those things that people that look at risk management and all that, especially lenders, that we will look at before extending credit to our company. That is it. And I look at the level of our borrowing too. It has come down by 40% in the year under review, from a total of 23.3 billion to 13.98. It's a great achievement, and I think we are managing the company very well. Let's keep that up, and I pray that God will continue to recognize and Your good job, God will
Shade,
reward you.
Reverend Shade, one of the recommendations and just Reverend Shade. Reverend Shade, online. No, you couldn't say online. It's okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The name is Reverend Dr. Anthony Omogora, the chairman. I gladly my heart to be here this morning. We have the opportunity to appreciate what is happening in our country.
Just call Reverend Shade to make a stop.
Including the harsh economic policies which have been put in place by the government, our company has performed very well. Yes, we have a huge foreign exchange loss. Okay, we have good foreign exchange loss. And I am happy for the proactive step the board and management is taking so that this will not repeat itself in the current year. That is, by converting the foreign exchange amount to the local currency. So we only have to pay, try to repay back the appropriate interest in the local currency. Well, the job dividend I'm talking about, I'm also glad that we managed to have something sustaining. So kudos to the board and management for this very good decision. Having said that, there are some areas which are noteworthy of commendation in our performance generally. On page 18, I look at Vitafoam, Nigeria Limited, one of the subsidiaries, and very appreciative of the needed growth which we are witnessing in that place. For us to have a profit before tax of 203% growth and profit after tax of 207% growth is remarkable. And I also look at what the board and management had done in order to sustain the growth there by borrowing reasonable amount of money from BOI, which I'm sure we are securing at a very low interest rate to sustain our business in that sector. I say kudos to the board and management for this very, very good decision. The same thing happened at Vitafoam Sierra Leone Limited with added value of extension to Ghana and what's the other country? There's another country, 3-in-1 countries there, which is outside the country, and I'm sure the earnings from there is either in dollar or in pounds, and it helps while we are complaining of the conversion rate to be high. By the time we are converting this, it's also going to be positive on our account. So again, I look at the statements which have been recorded there. The subsidiary contributed impressively to the group bottom line in the financial year with prospect of greater impact in the coming years. This is wonderful. And I'll try to look at what other things can we do to sustain this momentum and be able to assist the board and management going forward. I look at the transport cost. The transport cost is high, but one alternative I'm recommending is to look at the rail section, because Nigerian rail, we are trying to improve there. We are linking the cities, and I'm sure by the end of this year, most of the capitals will have been linked. So if you can take advantage of this, it will reduce some of our transport costs. Then, I also reviewed the performance of Vono product, which was almost an abandoned child, but has come up alive and doing very well now. I'm looking at it that can we really have a reserve where we buy huge land, plant trees there, so that these trees, when they grow in the years to come, they'll be good for our business. Because if you look at the bidding sector, the quality of trees coming from that area now is low, because we don't have trees that are very strong and sustaining, except you go down to the south or southwest. So, but if you think of something that can help us in future, I think this will also be very good. I'm not good at repeating what others have said. I have some other points which I have noted, but I would say that some mention have been done about them. I want to pause here so that others with good points can come on board. But before dropping the mic, I want to congratulate the members of the board for having 100% attendance in the board meeting. God bless you all and bless all of us.
Can I also call on Reverend Olushade, who is online, to please take the floor?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The chairman, members of the board, vice chairman, MDs, and directors.
No, it doesn't matter.
The shareholder, good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our company has been very, very productive in spite of the economic challenges. So it's very, very natural that we should all commend, support, and manage. Thank you for your job well done. I'm particularly delighted to see the positive turnaround, good contribution of very good. Honestly, worthwhile. Very clear that going forward will be very, very better results. All in all, the management is doing an excellent job. You appreciate your work, and like some of my colleagues have said, we appreciate the dividend. Thank you very much. God bless all of us. God bless us. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'll come to you. What's his name? Now.
Chairman, very distinguished fellow shareholders, especially those of them who are joining us online. Mr. Chairman, let me start on the notes of what our tomorrow should be. By the way, I'm not a soothsayer, but because I also didn't learn blacksmithing, I'm not likely to repeat anything that anybody have said. There's enough here to go around all of us. So I'm going to concentrate on areas that they have left out. For tomorrow, and I'll come to why I'm talking about tomorrow first. First, I'm extremely happy that I was one of the very few who opposed our sales of Sierra Leone, even when Sierra Leone was doing very badly. Now that the fruits have begun to happen, it's also important that we look at things of that nature that will also help us for tomorrow. The first one, which unfortunately concerns the audit committee members. If I didn't know the chairman of the audit committee, whose first name is Stella, and the middle name is Bembela, and his surname is Adederele, then we'll not understand where SB is coming from. But I think that for the future, we should have full names. All this Bembela in abbreviation will not help us. That is the first of the future that I want us to address. The second of the future that I want us to address is that Vitafoam has reached a stage in its life where interim dividend must become part of our history. Because it's not an academic exercise. But if you look at pricing vis-a-vis when your 6 months is ready, you begin to understand why this has to be so. But if you're also in doubt, you are going to be paying us a dividend. Literally all the companies that are listed that have their year end in December are also paying dividend at the same time that you'll be paying dividend. So your impact would not be as impactful if you are taking to take the structure of interim and final. And I think it's something that you can decide to commission a study on, given the size of money that we pay consultants in this year's account. The third major area for tomorrow has to do with one major brand enhancer that you had in the past. And that is the baby of the year. I think we've lost that product, but it's never too late to go back. A competitor is now pushing you, has pushed you, not that it's pushing you, has fully pushed you to the background. And I don't think that as a forerunner, you should allow your name to be changed from John. Please go back and see how you can enhance that so that you will remain John as far as that product is concerned. The other major area that I also think that we need to work around is if you look at the issue of dividend. And on page 133 to be specific, dividend 36 will soon be status bar. But I don't think that it will be out of place for the company secretary in particular to work with the registrar and see how we can take down that value as quickly as possible. Because don't also forget, if I get an alert, or even if you don't have my record, between the registrar and the company working together, somebody knocks on my door or gets to reach me and say, oh, I have an unclaimed dividend. And at the end of the day, with the economy, I get a dividend of 20,000 naira. There's no way I'm going to forget the company. And the chances are high that the benefit that you get from that exercise is going to be long-living. So please, company secretary, with the permission of the board, get to work with the registrar. This size of unclaimed dividend is becoming embarrassing. But you must work much more on dividend 36 because that is the next in line of getting status bar. The other one that I'm not sure as to how to handle it. Very many cities, big cities in US, and very many towns in UK now, and UK in particular, you drive around streets, you will find somebody has opened his door and he has thrown out his mattress for PSP to come and carry. And each time you interrogate such persons, one of the things you are going to find is that they will tell you that the mattress has been infested. And what is the infestation? Lice. Bug. So I then began asking myself, are there things we can do? Unfortunately, we don't have studies here. And very many times, I'm sure some of them will tell you they have used otapia. Whether it's killing it or it's not killing it is what I don't know. Are there things we can do around our product so that will not be our experience? Because if we're also able to do it right in the tropics, we may also have something. I'm not asking us to sell mattress to them in UK because cost of flight alone will take away your profit. But if there's something we can do in terms of material that we use, that may then be something that we can also sell to other regions. I think it's something I want us to think about. Because even major hotels in US now, you'll find bugs. Okay? But what we need to do as a company will put us ahead of what other persons are doing. Mr. Chairman, I want to ask 2 questions in one. What stopped the board from giving us a bonus in the year under review? Even if you wanted to give a dividend, because the implication of both are not the same. The implications are not the same, especially in the year that you have made, that we made a loss. So I would just want to be giving a peep into the heart or the mind of the board. Why didn't you give a bonus? Because if you look at our share price, and if you look at the size of bonus that you give, it will not be that negative in the size of the company. So it will be good that you educate me, so that when I also hear people raise the same question that I probably have raised, you probably have an apostle in me. The other question that has remained unanswered, yes, I know somebody is going to say, Umunna, what is the crime that minorities have committed that they can't be on the board and they are not on any of the subsidiaries? What crime? And I say this with all due respect. You know, before now, corporate governance is restricted to Europe and America. My experience is showing that there's so much studies going on globally on a number of Nigerian companies. And interestingly, Vitafoam has become one of them. Because some persons will call, oh, this I'm doing, how do you help me? So we need to begin to make sure that we're putting ourselves on an extremely strong footing across board when it comes to corporate governance. But like I said, it will be interesting that you also share with us why you have decided to stand where you are standing, so I will also know what the future is going to be. But how did we get here? It's also important for me. Mr. Chairman, they have talked about gender. But one of the things I can advise that we'll do next year, please buy as many Scottish skirts as possible for the men. And when they are coming in here, so we'll be counting them as ladies. After all, in US now, you don't talk about gender. Even in some institutions in UK, you don't talk about gender. There is more than man, woman, and man and woman, men and woman and men, and all of that. So please, and I know that Scottish skirt in this period of the year is very cheap. So buy enough, and then once they come, you just give them, just buy different sizes, and then they will wear. But what is more important for me, really? What is the problem that we can have 3 independent directors? 3. We've raised this in the past. The law says you should have 3. If you have a board of 11, what will it cost you to have 3? Because if you also look at this account, you talked about a committee, which I'm happy that somebody have asked that we should merge. Nomination committee. So which means that at the point in which you are looking for directors, that itself will be one of the things that you'll be putting into consideration. But let me also ask, and I think this has to do with a shareholder speaking around it. Very many times when suggestions are also made, some boards, probably because of the inadequate relationship between the board and the small shareholders, if you are going to have the list of directors on subsidiaries, if we have 8 subsidiaries, the maximum number of additional lines we are going to have is 8. So when are we likely to get the list of directors on the subsidiaries? And I say this with all due respect. Group structure also has its own bad side. And for the number of us who have taken interest in the banks, you are going to find that that is where the damage is done. Some boards before now, in a number of those banks, will have secretary to the chairman being a director. The first cousin of the vice chairman is a director. And they go there and fill space, offer no advice, offer no knowledge. So we are not asking that even when you appoint minority, you should just bring anybody on the board. But let's start by you disclosing who are the directors on the subsidiary. Because let me be honest with you, when I buy shares, because buying shares means that you are paying tomorrow's price today, I want to know who manages those resources, human and non-human. and you cannot manage or give what you don't have, I will scrutinize. With due respect, madam, I've literally checked everywhere I can find information about you. That is the way some of us operate when we invest, because I want to put my hard-earned money in a location that I will get good return. Okay, I don't necessarily have to like your face, but if you are going to give me value, I'm sure with time you begin to like. Even if I don't like the face, I will like the glasses. So it is important that we begin to do the things that will help us as a company. I also think that for the future, you don't have shareholders with more than 5%, and you classify them, and you are silent as to who represents them on the board. You give negative signals. And that I don't think is where Vitafoam should be now. Vitafoam has passed the level of partial disclosure. No more passport photograph, full portrait. Where possible, if he has 1004, please display it. That way, nobody is going to ask you any question as to what you are doing and how you are doing it. But for the accounts, I will want to find out, yes, first let me say that the company was operationally profitable in 2024. However, I will be interested what were the components of the increase in revenue. What percentage is volume? What percentage is price increase? What percent is FX related, since we have Sierra Leone? That I think will be helpful for me. Because I also don't want to finish clapping here that you have done very well, and any of those variables are not happening or likely to happen in the current year, and then I then come next year and say, oh, you haven't done well. It will be double talk, and I don't want to do double talking. The other area that I also think that we need to have some section around is what Mr. Kinlade, I think, spoke about when he talked about our middle size or middle session. Some persons like eating, and when they finish eating the pomo and shaki, they then find that their stomach is getting bigger, and then they will now hit the road. Meanwhile, he has the opportunity of not chopping the shaki, so his stomach will not be on the road, and then he will also be jogging. So what are we likely to do differently around our finance costs? Yes, I also have heard what was said, and I've also looked at the account. Because if we have even half of what was what went out this year, 8 billion or 7 point, we had half of that, it means that our reserve will have also been richer by 3.5. So I'm interested as to what is the structure going forward around our capital structure. I think it will be helpful if you share that with us, because that itself may partly explain the issue of the loss of 12 billion that we're currently talking about. Yes, I also do notice that the cash generation wasn't bad in the year under review. More importantly, in a year that you had new assets of 1.5 billion. But if you put all of that in perspective in terms of capital formation process, then I will be in a better position to understand it. And lastly, which will be something for the future as well, I will plead that we shouldn't go virtual when it comes to our AGM. It's much more of a minus for you than a plus. And I know that somebody is likely to point me to the direction of the cost. But if you look at 30 million, less than 30 million in terms of AGM, in a year that you paid a fine of 15.5 million. So who do you prefer to give the money to? For your shareholders to come around? Yes, some of us may not be as contributory as some of the things that you have heard, but that relationship, you can't take it away. Some of them will not come here to make any contribution, but they will buy some of our products and take away. And those products is what they then display in their parlors and in their homes and say, oh, this is from Vitafoam. You can't pay for such adverts one-on-one. So I will plead with you, this is the last time that we have virtual AGM. Because a number of companies who are doing virtual are not doing it because they want to save money. Very many of them are doing it because they have something to hide. And I don't think you should join the hiding club when it comes to this. So please, it's a very strong appeal, and I'm hoping that this will be the last one. The other one will also be ending on the table of the secretary. If you look at page 135, because you have done virtual, what you have there, by the way, you said you are going to pay for the stamp duty. But much more important, if I was not going to attend this meeting, I needed to vote. And you are asking me that I should prove directors' fees. And yet, on that proxy page, you never mention anything as to what you want me to approve. Yes, I know some of us are used to signing blank checks. But for some of us who signed them for our girlfriends, and thereafter we got hit, I'm sure they will never do it again. Okay, but because you don't also want us to fall into having to sign blank checks in the manner that I described, I will be hoping that going forward, you will disclose what is the fees that you want us to pay directors. And you know why that is important for me? It's an expense item, which means that every year, shareholders have a right to approve what you want to pay. And if I have a right to approve as a shareholder, it's also must be a right that I need to know what I need to approve. On that note, I want to thank management and board for their contribution. And I'm also hoping that come September 2025, which is a couple of 6 months away, that the report that you'll be presenting, because you haven't shared your proposed budget, or even if you leave budget, you haven't told us what you are likely to do in 2025 in terms of performance. But I want you to do it in such a manner that when we also get in here, we probably will not remember to ask you what is the projected for 2026. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think we've taken enough questions because it appears the items get repeated. The main issues that we have asked now.
No.
I think we've taken enough, and I've summarized what we have taken. They revolve around the performance of the company, the issue of gender representation on the board, which the shareholders are reading the mind of the board because the board is also eager to have an opportunity. This one is when opportunity comes, and the board's mind now is to get a representation by a female on the board so that we can increase the number of females on the board. So certainly that will be addressed. There is the issue of subsidiaries and their boards, which is also what the board is looking at, and this advice is taken kindly and we'll look at it. The issue of virtual AGM will be reviewed, but there are reasons why we have these AGMs virtually. And when there is no reason for that, at least we will certainly have an advantage. You know, the cost structure in the country, the representations was what we looked at.
The security. The tenants in the society.
Yes. Then the issue of interim dividend and bonus will also be looked at. But the issue of bonus is the board would rather give bonus on current year income rather than from reserves. So when the income improves, then the issue of bonus will be looked at. But yes, but to say you give bonus out of the reserves you have now does not really indicate right. There was also advice on strategies going forward, which certainly we are mindful of that, and it will be seen in the results that will come in the future. Apart from this, the other main issues revolve around the performance of the company, for which I will give the group managing director and the director finance the opportunity to comment and give answers to this. They've jotted down all what we've said. They will respond to it. Thank you. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, both present physically and those virtually joining us. let me comment on some of the operational issues that have been raised by reason of questions in the course of this meeting. We note the issue on the increase on energy. Energy is one thing that just the same way you are looking at it, we're also very concerned. But you remember that in the course of the year was when we had this, some say it's bandit, some say it's bandage, some say, several issues around tariff increase. Of course, we were already in the year, and so we had to take it in. Same with the issue of the gas, that is the diesel that we use. So that is what we're seeing as, an indication on the cost of electricity that increased. And conversely is the issue of transport. Everything went up around that line. I must say that for Vitafoam, most of the distribution trucks that you see around are not owned by Vitafoam. We do not have trucks to move goods around the nation because, again, many of us will know that if you start managing drivers, you would almost not be able to manage even the business that you really have to manage. So we have outsourced that leg of the business, and so we don't manage it directly. So again, the same thing that happened in the area of energy and the area of the increase in the fuel is what has happened to them too. And we don't forget that we have factories in not only Lagos. We have as far as Kano, Jos, and Aba, and you have to, the port is in Lagos. The thing you are saying about the cost has to do with the direct input cost that we have of transporting materials all around the nation. We also have the issue of the growth that we have in revenue. For the revenue growth, 27% is volume and 29% is on price increases. As we had changes in the cost of materials, we also had to respond by moving those costs, the direction of the cost of the materials. We also have the issue that has to do with the first baby of the year. Yes, we are aware that this year in particular, we're not where the wife of the governor is. You see, the way it works, you work with the office of the wife of the governor. They tell you to the best of their ability that yes, the wife of the governor will be in so place, and try to be where the wife of the governor will be. Traditionally over the years, it's always been the island maternity, and that's where we have always been. So it's not a case of that we have left that tradition. We're there. It's just that this year the wife of the governor felt, look, let me look at other primary health care centers, and so she went to some other places this year. But we have noted the comment, and would also work closely with the office of the first lady to make sure that we attend to that. I would then ask that, with the permission of the chairman, that the finance director also comments on some of the financial issues that were raised in the course of this question.
Have mic? Doesn't have mic.
I believe that every issue raised have been answered, but for the question on trade receivables, the growth in trade receivables. If we look at the current ratio, compared with 2023, see that the current ratio even improved. And the monthly sales of the group is over 7 billion per month. So if we look at what we are seeing there, it's less than 2 weeks sales. So a lot of sales too came in just within end of the year, which have been fully collected in the following month. So that will be all that have not already been answered by the chairman and the group managing director. So the issue of unclaimed dividends, the office of the company secretary has always been working with the Meristem, which are the registrars, on how to get the shareholders to claim their unclaimed dividends. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the GMD and the finance director. For all the other issues and advices, we have noted this and will surely address them during the course of the current year. Distinguished shareholders, as we're about to commence the voting session, as we are about to commence the voting session on our resolution, may I invite the representatives of the registrar to guide us through the voting process. And may I call for you to explain the voting process, please?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. As we all know, the AGM is virtual and the voting consists of votes online and by proxies. So as the chairman calls out the resolutions, we would see the results as people vote. It took about 10 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You will draw us back. Yes. Give him this. Give him.
Okay, with regards to the question, I presume the shareholder wants to ask for those who are physically present. A link was shared earlier, and in that link, shareholders were required to vote ahead of the meeting. So that communication was passed across when the annual report was shared to various shareholders. Thank you. I also confirm that some other shareholders had earlier voted. So
Okay,
please,
thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman, please
Yes.
proceed.
We have now come to the declaration of a dividend, and I hereby move that a final dividend in respect of the year ended 30th September 2024 of 1,313,386,000 naira, representing 1 naira 5 kobo per share, recommended by the directors be and it is hereby declared payable on 6 March 2025, which is today, out of the amount standing to the credit of the profit and loss account to all shareholders registered in the books of the company at the close of business on 7th February 2025. Before asking someone to second the motion, I would mention that such dividend will be subject to withholding tax at the prevailing rate. Would somebody please rise and second this motion?
With the addition, I so second.
Thank you. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting? I now put the motion to the meeting. With all those in favor of or against this motion, please signify by voting on their devices, those that are online. But the voting has been carried out.
Yes.
So the registers have
Project
the
the
voting
results now.
result.
Thank
Yes. Yes. So announce the result.
For the first, for those who voted for, everybody 100% voted for and none voted against. Thank you. That's for the first resolution.
Thank you. From the above, from this result,
Please proceed, Mr. Chairman.
I declare that the motion has been duly carried out. The next business is the re-election of directors retiring by rotation at this meeting. The two directors retiring by rotation at this meeting are Mr. Gasson P. Silva and myself, Zakar Mohammed Sada, being eligible for re-election offer themselves for re-election. I hereby move that the first director retiring by rotation, Mr. Gasson P. Silva, be and is hereby re-elected as a director. Would someone
Because the chairman is involved, I think he has to step down.
the chairman, we are doing one by one. We'll do this, the chairman, I will recuse myself from the seat and somebody will move the motion.
Okay.
Yes. So, I hereby move that the first director retiring by rotation, Mr. Gasson P. Silva, can you please rise to be seen? Mr. Silva. Be and is hereby re-elected as a director of the company. Would someone please second the motion? Yes. Seconded.
I, Matthew Akelade, I second that motion. Thank you.
Somebody is recording the name. Go. Thank you very much. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting? Since no questions, I now put the I now put the motion to the meeting. Will all those in favor of or against this motion please signify by voting on their device for or against the motion?
We'll just give 10 seconds for the people online to vote, please. Thank you.
Yep.
10 seconds.
Okay. From the result? Oh. She's saying unanimity. Ah.
So the results to re-elect Mr. Silva as a director, 100% of those present at the AGM voted for and no one voted against. Thank you.
Thank you. From the results, I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried out. For the next retiring director, which is myself, I will recuse myself from carrying on the motion and delegate Mr. Adeni, Tayo Adeni, to carry on with the proceedings until this resolution is finished.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I hereby move that the director retiring by rotation, Mr. Zachary Sada, be and is hereby re-elected the director of the company. Will somebody please rise and second the motion?
My name is Barrister Detutu Shiyobola.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting? I now put the motion to the meeting. Would all those in favor or against this motion please signify by voting on their device for or against?
Thank you. We'll wait for those online. Media, please can we project? Thank you. Just 10 seconds, please. Thank you. The results to re-elect Mr. Zachary Sada as the director as follows. 99.29% voted for and one person representing 0.71% voted against. Thank you.
Thank you very much. From the result, I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hand over to the chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Adeni. Distinguished shareholders, I'm pleased to inform you that Dr. Mrs. Abiola O. Davis, a renowned medical practitioner, was appointed as a director since the last annual general meeting. In accordance with Section 274 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, KAMA 2020, any director so appointed shall hold office until the next annual general meeting and shall then be presented for the approval of the shareholders. The profile of the new director is contained on page 11 of the annual report. I hereby move that the appointment of Dr. Mrs. Abiola O. Davis, can you write? As a director of the company be and is hereby approved. Any seconder?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Mrs. Bakari Adebisi Oluwayemisi. I second the motion.
Thank you. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting? I now put the motion to the meeting. Would all those in favor of or against the motion please signify by voting on their devices or for or against the motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Vote started counting. Thank you. So the results to confirm the appointment of Dr. Mrs. Abiola O. Davies as a director is as follows. 98.55% voted for and 1.45% voted against. Thank you.
From the result, I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried out. In accordance with Section 401, subsection 2 of the Companies on Allied Matters Act 2020, PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, the external auditors, are reappointed without any resolution being passed, in accordance with that particular provision also. However, Section 408 provides that the remuneration of the external auditors should be fixed by either the company in general meeting or in such a manner as the company in general meeting may determine. I hereby move that the directors be and are hereby authorized for the meeting to authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of and expenses of the auditors in respect of their ending 30th September 2025. That's the our current financial year. Would someone please rise and second this motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I second the motion. Dr. Anthony Omojola.
Thank you. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting? I now put the motion to the meeting. With all those in favor of or against this motion, please signify by voting on their device or for or against the motion.
Please let's project the screen. Media. Thank you. The voting results authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the auditor. 99.29%, representing 140 shareholders, voted for, and 0.71%, representing 1 shareholder, voted against. Thank you.
From the results, I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. The next item on our agenda is the disclosure of remuneration of managers. Section 238 and Section 257 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 require that the remuneration of the managers of the company shall be disclosed at the annual general meeting. May I humbly request that you refer to pages 116 to 117 of the annual report for the disclosure of the remuneration of managers of Vitafoam Nigeria PLC. The next item we have on the agenda is the election of members of the Audit Committee pursuant to Section 404, subsection 3 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. The committee is to carry out functions set out under Section 404, subsection 7 of the Act. I presume that the other terms and conditions regarding the establishment and operation of the committee are hereby known to all of us. In line with Section 404, subsection 3 of the Act, the directors have resolved to elect 2 of their members to represent the board on the audit committee as required. They are Mr. Abdul A. Bello, right for recognition, and Mr. Ademola Bolarinde. Independent national non-executive director and a non-executive director to represent the board. Who? Where? As for the shareholders' representatives, the company has reported that pursuant to Section 404, subsection 6 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, vital nominations for election to the audit committee has been received from 3 shareholders within the statutory time limit. Because there are 3 slots and there are only 3 nominations, I would presume that we just put this to vote for the 3 members. There is no need to hold any election again because it's only 3 nominations for 3 slots. Yes. So they are carried. Yes. So it means this resolution is carried. And the names are 1 Reverend Elisha De Ibianka, Comrade SB Aderele, and Mr. Badebo Omolaja Olatukumu. They and the elected representatives directors, namely Abdul Bello and Mr. Ademola Walarinde, are hereby declared members of the Audit Committee until the conclusion of the next annual general meeting. Thank you. For the next resolution, I will again recuse myself here because I will be a beneficiary of the resolution. So I will ask again Mr. Tayo Adeni to carry out this function.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item on the agenda concerns the fees of the non-executive directors. I should perhaps mention at this stage that the directors have decided to divide any fee voted to them by the shareholders among those directors who are not full-time working directors. The full-time working directors are remunerated only by way of salary. I hereby move that the fee of the non-executive directors in respect of the year ending 30th September 2025 be and is hereby fixed at 1,850,000. Would somebody please rise and second this motion? Okay, we take the observation. Yes, sir.
I did remember making the remark around how we present director's fee. What you just announced is that 1 million for director, but you were not specific on what the chairman will earn.
Oh.
But if you look at page 116, you will find chairman here is being credited with 24.15 million. And I remember at the last AGM, I asked that you should split that into fees and non-fees.
Yes.
Because anybody who hears you, you can't even defend him. Alaji, you are lucky that Boko Haram has not reached your place. Because this is what they will look at. If he collects 24 million, let him bring half of that at least. And then you'll be in trouble. This classification is not right. Please. Thank you.
Noted. Somebody please, thank you, sir, for that observation, and that will be taken care of by the board. Will somebody please rise and second this motion? Yes, sir.
I so second. I'm Chief Timothy Adesina.
Thank you very much, sir. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting? I now put the motion to the meeting. Would all those in favor of or against this motion please signify by voting on their device for or against the motion?
Yes, please. 10 seconds. And then results. The voting results to approve the director's fee as follows. 98.6% representing 141 shareholders voted for, and 1.40% representing 2 shareholders voted against. Thank you.
From the results, I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried.
Thank you, Mr. Adin. We have now come to item number 10 on the agenda, which is to seek authorization from the shareholders for the renewal of recurrent transactions which are of trading nature or those necessary for day-to-day operations from related companies in accordance with the rules of the Nigeria Exchange Limited. governing transactions with related parties or interested parties. I hereby move that pursuant to the Articles of Association of the company and the recommendation of the directors, the company is hereby authorized to renew recurrent transactions which are of trading nature or those necessary for its day-to-day operations from related companies in accordance with the rules of the Nigerian Exchange Limited, governing transactions with related parties or interested persons. Would somebody please rise and second this transaction? This motion. Would somebody rise and please second this motion?
I've already risen. I am Mr. Moses Ibrahim. I second the motion.
Thank you.
Please don't take me as an enemy. I'm only trying to resolve this issue for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions before the motion is put to the meeting? I now put the motion to the meeting. Would all those in favor of or against this motion please signify by voting on the device for or against the motion?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The voting results to approve the renewal of the general mandate for related party transactions are as follows. 144 shareholders representing 99.31% voted for, and 1 shareholder representing less than 1% voted against. Thank you.
Thank you. From the result, I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried out. Our distinguished elders, chiefs, ladies, and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of the 63rd Annual General Meeting of our dear company. I would like to thank you on behalf of the board for attending the meeting and for your robust participation in the proceedings of the meeting. I hereby therefore declare the meeting closed.
Nigeria.